Something I've noticed over time is that when a woman actually likes you, she rarely makes it obvious in the way men expect. And that's where most men miss it completely, because we're usually looking for something loud, clear, almost undeniable. But real interest, especially the quiet kind, doesn't show up like that. It slips into small moments, almost invisible if you're not paying attention. And sometimes you only realize it much later, when you're already wondering what went wrong. There was this guy I knew back then, I think it was during school, or maybe just after, I can't fully remember. But he used to talk about this girl who always acted normal around him. No flirting, no obvious signs, just normal conversation. But funny thing, she was always around. Not in an obvious way, more like she just happened to be present in the same spaces. He didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, or at least how he explained it later, that was already one of the signs. Because when a woman likes you, she doesn't always chase you directly. Sometimes she just stays close, not in a dramatic way, just consistently around your orbit. And you don't notice it until you step back. And then there's another thing. This one is even trickier. She remembers small details about you, not the big obvious things, the random ones, like something you said once without thinking. Maybe you mentioned a food you like, or a place you've always wanted to visit. And weeks later, she brings it up casually, almost like it was nothing. But it's not nothing. I remember someone telling me once a girl they barely talked to surprised him with something related to a passing comment he made months ago. And he said it felt strange, like, how did she even remember that? But that's the point. People don't store information about people they don't care about. Not like that. But let me not overstate it, because sometimes people just have good memory. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's not always romantic. Still, there's a pattern there that's hard to ignore when it repeats. Another sign, and this one confuses a lot of men, she finds reasons to talk to you. Not always deep reasons. Sometimes even unnecessary ones. A question she could have asked someone else. A small excuse to start conversation. I saw this happen once with a friend of mine. He told me this girl would randomly message him things like, "Do you know what time that place closes?" Or, "Are you busy?" And at first he thought nothing of it. But over time, he realized she didn't really need answers. She just wanted interaction. And looking back, that's usually how it starts. Not with confession, but with repeated presence. Another one, she reacts to you differently compared to others. Not always dramatically. Sometimes it's subtle. She laughs a little easier, pays a little more attention, looks at you slightly longer than necessary, then looks away like nothing happened. And if you're not observant, you'll miss it completely. Or worse, you'll convince yourself it means nothing. And then there's emotional curiosity. She asks about your life in a way that doesn't feel casual. Not just how are you, but deeper. What you're doing, what you're planning, what you think about things. And sometimes she remembers your answers more than you do. That one always stands out when I think about it. Because interest usually shows itself through curiosity, not words. But here's the part most people struggle with. Even if you see these signs, it still doesn't guarantee anything. Because people can be friendly. People can be kind. People can also be inconsistent with their emotions. So you start second-guessing everything. And honestly, that's where most people get stuck. Not because the signs weren't there, but because they were never 100% sure. So maybe the real question isn't just whether she likes you or not. Maybe it's whether the connection feels mutual enough that you're not constantly confused. Because when someone is genuinely interested, you don't spend all your time decoding them. Things feel simpler than you expect, even if the signs are quiet. Anyway, that's just something I've noticed. I could be wrong about some of it, but patterns tend to repeat more than we think.